Amazon now, an extraordinary operation which he created in his apartment about 20 years ago, and look where it is now. It's to inspire, but also to understand many of the challenges. And what I'd like, if I may, to underscore how we're going to move this forward this morning, I'd like you to feel part of the conversation. Jack, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask anyone in the audience as well if they want to intervene on the conversation. And maybe if we can do that by raising the lights so I can see you. I can see an awful lot of mobile phones, but if someone could put the lights on, then I have a chance of finding out who else would like to join the conversation, because at the moment it's a blur of dark colours and some heads which are shining. Not many, but some are shining. But I'm here really to make sure this is a conversation. And I think it's worth underscoring, Jack, that you've said that you want to write a book which is Alibaba's 1001 Mistakes. Because it's easy to say to Jack, you're an extraordinary achiever with your co-founders and the enormity of what you've created, but it didn't come easily. There were many setbacks, and he wants to highlight that. And you've underscored very much that the bigger the company, the bigger the problems. You've said that time and time again. But we want to get, in the next 55 minutes, into understanding how you've also become a mentor for entrepreneurs. And there are many tensions that you have identified, and I'm underscoring this for the audience here, about the way in which technology is changing, about the way there's now a new line between people and machines. You've been saying we used to make people like machines. Now we must make machines like people. So I'm pushing you down the track of, I know where you want to go. The things we teach our kids, machines soon will do better, which creates an enormous educational challenge. And that's what Jack is now pioneering with his work in the People's Republic, but also around the world. And he underscored very much, this was in an interview he did back in May in Paris, he underscored exactly what you've just heard in the video. If you think the tech revolution is a problem, then I'm sorry to say the problem has only just started. If you think it's an opportunity, that opportunity has just started. And it's all about your mentality. If you worry, you're always going to worry, but don't think in that way. And what I'm doing, Jack, we weren't able to speak before we came on the platform. What I'm trying to do is set in context what we want to hear from you, not just about Ukraine, but about what you're seeing elsewhere. And I think it's important to underscore what the President has just said. Back on July the 29th, there was a presidential decree to boost e-government in this country, hopefully by having the first steps in place within 6 months, 11 clear steps. But we want to hear from you, I think, and I'm going to tell you how you can make your feelings clear to me about when you want to intervene. What we want to do is understand the complexion now of the digital space in which you have been operating, in which you have made an extraordinary success, well ahead of Amazon, but others are moving up as well. And I think it's important to underscore that Ukraine does not have the time to repeat the development paths of leaders. In fact, Ukraine needs to create its own transformational miracle. And I urge you to pick up what the President said, what we've seen on the video, even if you're not familiar totally with Ukraine, where there are still 3,500 state companies, where there's still that transition going from the Soviet era to where we are 28 years later. We want to understand the role of cooperation between the state and business in matters of digitization, to again build on that. Could I ask, please, the tech people, could we have the lights up? Because we have 55 minutes, and I'd like to know who else wants to put questions. And at the moment, we can't really see anybody. So could someone put up some lights, please? There's someone there who is already using their own light, and they're putting up lights. That shows tech, low tech. Jack, welcome.
Thank you.
But the 1001 Mistakes, what would you be saying in that book which you haven't written yet?
Well, first, you just say Ukraine cannot afford to copy the other country's success. I think nobody, no country can afford in today copy the other country, because we are entering into an area that's so new to anybody, to any country. I don't believe they're expert of future. There is only expert of yesterday. As entrepreneur, we believe in future. I'm very happy to hear President said, invest in the people. Invest in the SMEs, small business. Invest in the young people. Invest in the small business. This is the key. Last century, because of the industrial revolution, so the bigger the better. Next century, the smaller the better. The flexible is better. Last century, people say, you are big. So big is the standard. Next century is good. If you're a good company, you'll be good. Good company does not mean you have to be big.
How do you define a good company?
Good company is a company, you don't have to be big, because the bigger you are, the bigger problem you are. The good company means you take care of your employees, you take care of customers, you are respected, not because you're rich. We find we have a lot of people who are rich but not respected, right? When you do things, you should be happy. Your employees are happy, your customers are happy, society are happy. This is the key. So not necessarily you're big, I'm rich. No, rich means nothing.
But you created a company, an enormous organization. Do you regret having created a big organization then?
Yeah, if I could be able to try again, I would try to make my company not that big size. Unfortunately, it's growing so fast, so I tried to make a big size but good company.
But should you have said stop? Is there a time when you should have, was that a mistake?
I tried to stop, but later I said, well, it's impossible to stop. Because I think with the technology, with the ideas, with the terrible experience we had, we can enable many, many small business. They are on the way to tomorrow. With our tough 20 years experience, we can share those experience, those mistakes with those entrepreneurs on the way.
Now, you have created and been lecturing yourself at your own business school for sustainability in China. I think it's been going 3 years. And you've emphasized where people have failed. Actually, I'd like to suggest to you experimented, but it hasn't worked. Failure sounds too negative. What kind of examples are you using about which suggest and make it clear the kind of traps that those out there can fall into?
Well, only when you give up, it's a failure. If you don't give up, it's just a mistake. Mistake is the best fertilizer for tomorrow's success. I think for a company like Alibaba, people say, hey guys, you're so lucky in 20 years. You have achieved that much. Yes, we're lucky, but we worked very hard. We made more mistakes than anybody can imagine. We made mistakes on raising capital, we made mistakes on management, and we made mistakes on HR, we made mistakes